Hello friends, it is the Drag Detective back here with another video. This time it is a continuation of the riggery of Season 11, and we are going to break down how Season 11 would have went if it was judged fairly, or as fairly as I can possibly try and make it. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you to everybody who has been following me on my socials. My Instagram got like 100 followers in like maybe a week. And same with my Twitter, so I'm definitely going to be way more active on those. Thanks if you followed. If you haven't, come join the party. And thank you to all my new subscribers. I've jumped in subscribers this past week, so I can't wait to continue to make some fun content for you guys. Let me know if there's any video ideas you would like to see me do. Throw it in the comments. If I like what I see, I will obviously do it. Also, maybe support me on Patreon if you want to see some additional content. But again, no pressure there. I'm having a lot of fun with this channel, and I'm just going to keep making fun stuff for you guys, so I am excited. I'm also saving up for a better mic, so my rickety-crickety audio will be improved, hopefully soon. If you want to help me with that, support me on Patreon. Today, like I said, we're going to be going through Season 11, talking about how differently it might have went if it was judged fairly. And I put out a poll, got some of your guys' responses, so I'm going to kind of take that along with my own personal opinions, and like they always do most of the time, they lined up. So I have spent probably way too much time putting this together. I changed it like maybe 3 or 4 different times. Like I look through and I'm like, well, no, what about this? Or no, I think this would have went this way. So I put a lot of thought behind this, and I am eager to hear your guys' opinions. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you think that some of my decisions were bogus. Maybe just say it in a nicer way. Also, disclaimer, Shitju, we call Shitju because some things came out about him being a predator. And, well, I guess they didn't just come out. They came out during Season 11, but everyone kind of, like, ignored it. And then when they brought it up on Twitter this year, suddenly people cared. And, yeah, now he's being sent to court, I think. So that's why we call Shitju, just why we call Shitty Pie. Let's not give these people platforms. Yeah, I know some people were kind of confused by that in the last video. So there's explanation. Like I said in the last video, I think the first 2 episodes played out perfectly. Shitju and Kahana Montrese go home. Brooklyn Heights, and then Evie and Scarlett win the first 2 episodes. I think the high placements were right. I think the low placements were right. Everything's good to go. So we're going to start this video off with episode 3. And the only thing I'm going to change here is that we do not have a bottom 6 lip sync. So Nina West is going to win the challenge. The rest of her team are going to be high, and they're going to be sent to the back of the stage. Then we're going to have Team Mariah. They're going to be getting critiqued. Now, I'm going to put Plastique Tiara, Sugarcane, and Akira Davenport as safe because I think they were the best of the 6. They were the least cringy. I mean, Plastique was pretty cringy, but not as cringy as the other 3. So that leaves a bottom 3 of Scarlett Envy, Raja O'Hara, and Honey Davenport. And Scarlett sucked really bad, but Raja was the team leader. And I think Honey was the absolute worst in the challenge. So I'm going to say Scarlett is going to be low here. And I'm going to put Raja O'Hara and Honey Davenport in the bottom 2, lip syncing to some like random remix to Waiting for Tonight by Jennifer Lopez. We should have just had the actual song, but whatever. And I mean, we saw how they did in the actual lip sync. Honey jumped off the stage and flopped like a seal. And Raja served as she does. So Honey's going to still go home here. It just won't be a 6-way lip sync. It'll be a 2-way lip sync, as it should have been, in my opinion, if we weren't just going to do some random stuff for a stunt. That brings us to episode 4, which is Trump, the Rusical. And this is the first episode where we're going to have some like actual big changes. In the top 3, we have Brooklyn Heights, Evie Oddly, and I'm going to say Nina West. I think Nina was so good as Sarah Sanders. And you guys agreed in the poll. So I'm glad we all share this viewpoint that Nina should have been in the top for sure in this challenge. For such like a nothing kind of role she had, it wasn't like a big one like Ariel's or Raja's. It was like kind of like there only a little bit. She did so good. And I mean, she looked just like her. So that is our top 3. And just because of the incredible job that she did, Evie Oddly, I think, completely deserved this win here. And Silky Ganache is just safe. In the actual episode, she won, but I think that that was a pretty safe performance. That's like the definition of safe to me. Like, okay, no, you did good. Your runway, no, it's good. I'm not stunned. I'm not disappointed. It's just, you're fine, safe. And then we're going to have the same bottom 3 of Miss Vanjie, Raja O'Hara, and Mercedes Amon Diamond. But like I said in my last video, the Riggery of Season 11, if you haven't seen it, it's up in the right corner. I think Vanjie should have lip-synced here because she was given such a prolific character like Rosie O'Donnell, and she gave literally nothing. Like, nothing in that performance said Rosie O'Donnell whatsoever. So I'm going to put Vanjie in the bottom here with Mercedes Amon Diamond. They're going to be lip-syncing to Coming to America and, oh my gosh, Living in America. Oh my gosh, Coming into America, isn't that a play? Anyway, Living in America by James Brown. And Mercedes is going to go home. So, still the same result, just a couple things are switched up. Now we have episode 5, and I mean, I've talked so much shit on this episode, so I'm not really going to waste too much time here. But we have an obvious top 2 of Scarlet Envy and Raja O'Hara. We all agreed on that. I think everyone in the world agrees on that. Even Rue agrees on that. The producer said, no, you don't, bitch. But that is our top 2. I'm also going to put Plastique in that third top position. Now, it was literally impossible to choose between Scarlet Envy and Raja O'Hara here. Normally, I would say whoever made the best garment that they have to actually create, whoever edged out there, I would give the win to. And I do think that Raja's looked nicer. But at the same time, I think Scarlet had a better concept of like making an actual monster sexy. And then Raja was just like, oh, I'm a bone collector. It's like, okay. Not sure what that is, but you look great. Whereas Scarlet was like, I'm the creature from the Black Lagoon, but like snatched. And then at the same time, I think Scarlet had one of the best looks of the night, which was her witch look, which was something completely different than all the other Queen's witch looks, doing this swamp witch. And also Scarlet had a theme, a running theme in all of her looks, which I'm not sure if she did on purpose or it just happened, but they were all like water themed. Her first look was a pirate, her second look was a swamp witch, and her third look was the creature from the Black Lagoon. Literally, Raja and Scarlet, I really don't know who I was going to pick, but in the end, I gave it to Scarlet, but on any given day that could change, so like, it doesn't really matter who I give the win here, because they both slayed it. It could have been a double win. It should have been a double win. Then we have our bottom 3, which is the same from the episode. We have Silky Ganache, Ariel Versace, and Sugarcane. But I'm going to save Ariel here because I think all of her looks were strong. I don't think she had a look that looked bad. Her first look didn't fit the category. Her second look was great. Her third look didn't fit the category or wasn't scary enough for the judges. But I did kind of get where Ariel was coming from, because you're trying to brand yourself, you're trying to make a brand, and she is the Bratz doll, right? And this is giving me very Laguna Blue, not the drag queen, the Monster High doll. So I totally got where she was coming from, but I also understood that the judges were like, girl, where's the scary? But at the same time, what was Silky? Like, literally, what was Silky? She had a red dress and some horns, and she was carrying a skull. And then I think both of Silky's other looks were literally terrible. Like, they were ugly. They might have fit the category, but they were ugly. So to me, it's like, what's better? Looking nice, but not necessarily fitting the category, or looking terrible, but fitting the category. And I gotta put Silky in the bottom, just because, oh my gosh, that first look was so bad. Those weird cut-ins on the knees. That second look was just so basic. And the third look was not scary. So I put Silky in the bottom here, and I left Ariel as low. And then obviously Sugarcane had the worst looks of the night. So except for the Bloody Mary look, which I thought was like amazing. It was like a nice sandwich of like 2 crusty mess looks, with this like beautiful, gorgeous look in the middle. Dinner. So now we have Suga versus Silky to Whitney Houston. And listen, I know Silky is not the greatest lip syncer on earth, but look at her Queens Everywhere performance. Look at her Bootylicious performance. Like, she can put on a show. And especially to a Whitney song, I am not the biggest Silky Ganache fan in the world, but I gotta give my girl some props. I think that she would do okay here, especially because Suga just, like, stood there and did nothing. I'm gonna give this to Silky, and I'm going to send Suga home. So we have our final 10. We're at the Drag Olympics Challenge, and the only thing that's going to change here is I'm going to give Ariel Suga's spot in Akira's team. One, because it makes it simple for me, and two, because Ariel was a dancer, or like she's known to be like kind of a performer, so it's not like totally crazy to think that Akira would pick her for her team. So we have Ariel on team Akira. Obviously, the same kind of tea works out where Akira wins, her whole team is high, and we have a bottom three of Scarlet Envy, Nina West, and Raja O'Hara. Nina West is low, and we have Raja and Scarlet in the bottom two. And here's where it was like, either Raja stays and then goes home at Snatch Game, or Scarlet stays, and I wasn't sure how far she would make it, but I was like, I could see her making it further. So, not just my own personal opinion, because in my own personal opinion, I think Scarlet should have won the lip sync. Also, I think it makes a more dynamic video if Scarlet lasts longer in it. So, I'm just going to give the fans what they want here and say Scarlet wins this lip sync. And I do agree, although I also think this totally could have been a double save. Raja O'Hara is going to go home here. Scarlet Envy is going to move on. So now we have Farm to Runway. So now there are some obvious changes here because we have Ariel and Scarlet in the competition still, and they were not here in the actual episode. This one is really hard to judge because it's not like something that they can show, like, oh, here's how good of a dancer I am. Okay, I know you would probably do okay in Drag Olympics. Or, here's my looks for the ball. Here's probably how I would have done. Or, here's who I would have done for Snatch Game, and I'm good at improv, so I can say, okay, you're probably going to do well at Snatch Game. Who knows what they would have made, or if it would have been good. All I can say is, Ariel has not done well in the sewing challenges up to this point. Scarlet has done well in the sewing challenge up to this point. So that is all I can base this on. But honestly, this is like a crapshoot. Who knows? Scarlet could have made a crap outfit and Ariel could have made this like, legendary look. Who knows? I'm going to put Scarlet in the top along with Evie and Plastique. And obviously Brooke was in the top here. Do I think Scarlet could make something better than this? Maybe. Brooke could easily be in the top here, but neither's going to win in this scenario, so it doesn't really matter. It could be Brooke, it could be Scarlet, whatever. What I am going to do is give Evie the win here because her look was incredible and she was showing versatility while Plastique was showing another corset. Also, despite being literally not able to walk at the time, Evie did the best in the little stupid line dancing skit. So I'm going to give Evie the win here. Plastique and Scarlet are high. And then we also need to talk about Nina West, who I'm going to say is safe. And here's my reasoning. Even if it was not the best look of the night, you could tell the work that she put into it. She made that whole thing out of corn husks. Because in these kind of challenges, I think that you could make an outfit that doesn't look great, but if I can see that you put effort into it and there's a lot of work that went into it, I'm going to give you more credit than someone who looks average or below average who slapped like 3 things together and like called it a day. So I'm going to say Nina West is safe, and I'm going to put Miss Vanjie as low. And then we're going to have Akira in the bottom 2 with Ariel, and Akira is going to send her home. I also think a lot of the decisions that I made here make for a better season storyline-wise, because you have Scarlet proving that she can dance and beat someone in a lip sync and move on in the competition. And she sends home the queen who has been kind of harassing her for the whole episode, saying, you deserve to go home, bye. That's a pretty satisfying storyline. You have Ariel, who her opening line is, I'm an Instagram queen, but I'm also a performer. And we see her win a lip sync, do well in the Drag Olympics challenge, and she's not a sewer, she goes home. But that's still like a satisfying conclusion. So I'll touch on that, this like the storyline part later on in the video. But for now, let's move on to Snatch Game. And I'm going to switch things up here too because I'm bored. Just kidding. I think it makes sense. So Silky Ganache, Slade, I cracked up. Loved it. She wins. And then we have Nina West in the top. And I'm going to throw Scarlet Envy in the top as well. She didn't do great in the Diva Worship Challenge, which was improv, but she talked about who she would do for Snatch Game, and she was going to do Lana Del Rey, and I just kind of like, the energy I'm getting is like, I think she would do good. And you guys all said she would either be high or win, so I am going to put her on the top here. But I don't think she would do better than Silky. So, and also like the bar in the Snatch Game was like not very high, so she doesn't actually have to do that good to like be in the top. So then we have our bottom three, which were Brooke, Evie, and Vanjie. And I'm actually going to save Brooke. And here's why. Vanjie had a terrible Snatch Game. Like, it was just as bad. I think all three of them were equally as terrible. So now it's like, let's look at the runway to break the tie. Evie, pretty good runway. Not her best, but it was pretty. It was sweet. Brooke, yes, it's just like a bathing suit, but she did the whole reveal and she did a whole performance on the main stage. So it's great. Vanjie wearing another bathing suit. So, and a really ugly wig. So I am going to save Brooke. It doesn't matter though, because it's going to be a double save here. Vanjie could probably eat this just as much as Brooke did. So we have Vanjie and Evie lip syncing, but they both make it to the next episode. So it doesn't really matter. So now we go on to LADP. Not much changes here. Akira wins, Brooke's in the top, and Silky's in the top. And we're going to put Scarlet with Suga's role. So it's Scarlet and Silky in the scene together. And basically, I think Scarlet would get the same critiques, which was like, you weren't as loud as Silky. But Scarlet also had a really fierce runway for this. I'll put it up here. Scarlet had really fierce runways for basically everything. I will put her as low, but I don't think she would be in the bottom two, because that was obviously Vanjie and Plastique, and the same thing's going to go home. Plastique's gonna sashay away. And so then we move on to Abracadabra. Anyway, so this episode obviously was hella rigged, but we don't have Sugarcane here. Basically, everyone that's left has storylines, so there's not really someone they have to like throw in the bottom. So what I'm going to do is Nina West is going to win, and her entire team is going to be high. To make things easy, I'm going to put Scarlet in Nina's team. Vanjie won the mini challenge in this episode and got to pick her team, and she picked the Dream Girls and Evie, and I think she would still do that. So Scarlet is going to be with Brooke and Nina, and I honestly think Scarlet would like kill this. Nina wins, and Brooke and Scarlet are high, as it should have been, and the bottom four are the other team, which was Akira, Evie, Vanjie, and Silky. Now, here's where I struggled a little bit, because Vanjie was going to lip sync because she was team captain, obviously. I think Evie was the next worst in the challenge, but Silky also was not good in the challenge, and she had ripped tight, or what was it? She had like her corset, she had something weird going on, and Evie's runway was just like incredible, and she like kind of like Brooke had like gags on it. It was really between Evie and Silky for me, so I put Silky in the bottom here. I don't think anyone's gonna be mad at me about that. Neither were good. Either could be in the bottom here, and either of them go home. Yeah, I'm gonna say Silky's in the bottom, and Vanjie completely eats this lip sync, and so that's what happens there. Silky goes home with only one challenge win instead of two. Makeover. Vanjie wins this challenge, which is kind of funny because she bottom two'd in the last 3 episodes and had a low placement before that, but Vanjie did incredible in this challenge. Scarlet is here. Here's what her makeover was. Beautiful, incredible, legendary as she is. So Scarlet would be in the top, and Brooke would be in the top, which means Akira and Evie and Nina are going to be in the bottom 3. Nina obviously had the worst. Suga was a mess. Evie would not have Scarlet, so she would probably have, if she had Silky, no. Okay, let's say Akira is making over Silky. Let's say Evie is making over Shih Tzu. Regardless, Evie's look was great, but the makeover look, maybe it was just because it was Scarlet, I don't know. Scarlet looked a bit weird. The proportions were off. I think it was like the cut of the pants cut in a weird spot where it made her midsection look big, even though she's like skinny. So to me, Evie would be in the bottom 2. And especially because Shitju doesn't have as, or at least at this point, didn't have as good of a figure as Scarlet did. So she would have probably looked worse in this because it would be accentuating what already didn't look great with Scarlet. So Evie's gonna lip sync here. And it's obviously just between like Evie and Akira. And like there was nothing wrong with Akira's. Like I wasn't excited in any way, but like they both looked beautiful. So I couldn't put Akira in the bottom. I think the most that could happen would be like kind of like a Gigi Good situation where it's like you did good, but like everyone else did better. I think she would be low here. So then we have Evie and Nina in the bottom 2 to no scrubs, and I think Evie would like eat this. Like she would do so good. So we were kind of robbed of that, and instead got what we actually got, which let's not bring it up. So obviously Nina West goes home here, and that leaves our top 5 in the penultimate episode, which is the Queens Everywhere verse challenge. Evie eats, and Scarlet is here. Scarlet obviously can't dance, so she probably wouldn't do great, but what I'm going to do here is I think that they added, because there's never been a lip sync at this point. This is the first episode that had a bottom 2 for the verse challenge. Usually like they all move on to the finale or one person gets cut. And I think that they did that so that they could put in the Brooke and Vanjie lip sync. So we are just going to cut one person like they do in all the seasons prior, which is always the person that has the worst track record, which is Vanjie. So Vanjie would go home here. And then we have a final 4 of Brooke, Akira, Evie, and Scarlet. And like guys, I promise you, I'm not really like that much of a Scarlet stan. Like I really like Scarlet Envy, but I'm not like one of her crazy stans. So her only bottoming once and making it to the finale, I was a little bit surprised by, but I kept looking at the episodes and I was like, I think she would do good in this one. I think she would probably do good in this one. Let's see what the other people say. Let's look at the chart. And like everyone agreed. So I was like, okay, so she makes it another one. She makes another episode. She makes another. And then like suddenly she's in the finale. And I'm like, oh, okay, work. I guess maybe I'm sleeping on Scarlet. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised by that. Maybe I should have been like, oh, duh, it's what she deserved. But yeah, I was a little bit like, oh, okay, Scarlet's here. Regardless, we're going to have to look at a couple different scenarios because when they spin the wheel, of course it lands on Silky and she's the only one that's not here. So we're just going to say, let's make it very simple on ourselves. The wheel lands on Scarlet because it didn't land on the other 3 originally. So it's going to land on Scarlet. And she gets to pick who she gets to lip sync against in the first part. And I think that I think that she's kind of out of her element here. What I will say is Scarlet can do a stunt. And I could see her kind of pulling something Sasha-esque like that. Because she knows she can't dance, that is how she would prevail in a lip sync. And I think that going into the season, she knew that, which is why she had the dress to cut up and the glitter. Like, you know, she has these gags ready as like kind of like a crutch of like, I might not be dancing as good as the bitch next to me, but like I can do something else that they're not doing, which is like this crazy gag. So I think that she would be very gag focused on her lip syncs. And I don't think it's crazy to think that she might make it to the final round. I don't think she's picking Evie or Brooke. I think she's picking Akira. Because I think that she knows if I go up against Evie or if I go up against Brooke, like I'm out first round. So I think that Scarlet would pick Akira. And I think that she would win against Akira. 1, she had more fan support. 2, Akira didn't know the words. 3, Scarlet would have probably some kind of gag that would be better than Akira ripping off a wig. So I'm gonna say Scarlet would beat Akira here and make it to the final round. And I'm gonna say that if Brooke and Evie are lip syncing to SOS, I think that Brooke would beat Evie because Evie was, I mean, watch that lip sync back, you guys. Evie was fine. Like, she did great, but it wasn't like as good as I know that Evie can do. I don't know if it was just because she felt like, okay, I can beat Akira. Like, I don't need to be like 150%. Or if she's like, I don't want to use all these moves that I might need to use in my next lip sync. Or maybe I need to try something new that they haven't seen. Evie wasn't that great. Like, she was fine. Like, it was like not a bad performance, but it wasn't like full on Evie oddly. I think Brooke would win here. And I think we have Brooke and Scarlet in the final two, lip syncing to the Edge of Glory. And okay, here's where things get difficult because Brooke did fine in the Edge of Glory, but the problem was that she used all of those moves that she was doing in Edge of Glory literally 15 minutes earlier in Bootylicious. So everything that she was doing just felt very underwhelming because it's like, okay, I literally just witnessed this. So while Evie was doing like all kinds of weird shit that like we hadn't seen her do before, like putting a damn second head on like she's Professor Quirrell from Harry Potter, does Scarlet win? I'm literally sitting here and like it sounds weird to say because like Scarlet can't dance. But I remember watching that performance with Brooke and being like, "Oh, okay." Like her outfit didn't look like a winning outfit. Her reveal wasn't like a winning reveal. Her reveal was like what you do in the first round because you're saving up for a better reveal in the second round. Everything that Brooke did in that last lip sync felt underwhelming to me. I feel like Scarlet would have some kind of fun reveal. Maybe I'm nuts. I don't even like her that much, guys. Am I losing it? I'm just going to say it. I think Scarlet wins in this scenario. I think Scarlet wins the season in this scenario. That's wild to me. But we're going to look at other scenarios too. If Scarlet goes up against Evie, Evie wins. And Brooke goes against Akira, Brooke wins that. And then we have the same exact final result where it's Evie and Brooke in the final two, Evie wins. If Evie goes up against Akira, Evie wins, and then it's Brooke versus Scarlet, I think that Brooke wins because it would be to either Bootylicious or SOS, and whatever she was doing would probably feel very like, ooh, she's doing a flip, ooh, she's doing, like, there wasn't, like, the novelty wouldn't have worn off yet. We have three scenarios here. I think Scarlet wins in one of them, and the scenario that I find most likely to happen, which is Scarlet lip syncs against Akira, and then lip syncs against Brooke in the Edge of Glory. I think Scarlet wins the season. I don't know. Unless, like, she really cannot do Bootylicious or SOS because they are such dance-heavy songs. I don't know, guys. I'm going back and forth. But I know Akira was a letdown. Literally did not know the words. Okay, but here's the gag. Okay, here's where I wasn't thinking. If Scarlet gets to pick the lip sync, who she lip syncs against, her opponent, they lip sync to the first song, which is Bootylicious, which is the song that Akira was prepared to probably have. Akira beats Scarlet, and Brooke beats Evie, and Brooke beats Akira? I don't know. Guys, I really am not sure. Evie could have won here. Scarlet could have won here. Brooke, I don't see winning because her final performance just wasn't it. Akira, who knows what she could have done for the Edge of Glory? I don't see Akira as doing particularly great. I'm going to leave this one open-ended because I honestly don't know. So I need your guys' help in the comments. No, how about this? Put the poll up on my Instagram and on my Twitter because I really am, like, at a loss. And I don't know. I keep second-guessing everything I'm saying because I'm like, yeah, Akira would win in Bootylicious against Scarlet, but she would lose against anybody in the Edge of Glory. Like, but Brooke wouldn't win in the Edge of Glory because we know what Brooke did in the Edge of Glory, and it was, like, not great. But Evie didn't do well in SOS, and she could probably get beaten by Scarlet or Brooke. So I don't know. I really don't know. My brain hurts at this point, and I've run this scenario like 50 times. It's between Scarlet and Evie for me. I'm gonna say that, but I want your guys' opinion. Go take that poll, check those out, and fill those up because I really want to know. Like I want to know that I'm not crazy here. But yeah, so that's what I came up with. That's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy? Also, do you like this series? Should I keep doing it? Okay, my last one, like, low-key blew up a little bit, so I'm going to try and do Season 10 a little bit quicker than I did Season 11, like the gap between Season 12 and 11. So I'm going to be working on Season 10 next and getting the Riggery of Season 10 out, and Lord knows there's a ton of Riggery there too, so I'm excited to see how different it would be and to point it all out and kind of figure out the whole storytelling aspect. I think the season that I created here has a better payoff because the villains go home. The villains get defeated. I think in this scenario, Scarlet has a better story. Evie has a better story. Vanjie has a better story. Silky has a better story. Ariel has a better story. Raja has a better story. I think that this already is a better season. But let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear your opinions. And follow me on my socials. Let's talk shit. I don't, also, if you're one of those people who follows and then gets mad when I post spoilers, don't follow me because I post spoilers. So I'm just letting you know that now. Don't get mad at me. I do it. And most people do. So, like, don't get mad about that. Either watch it live or stay on social media. I feel like that's kind of an unspoken rule at this point. But yeah, this is what should have happened in season 11. Would have been a much better season. Probably people would have liked it a lot more. May have been a top tier season. Who knows at this point? Make sure you guys subscribe. Check me out on my socials. Put on the notification bell. I'm going to be posting videos a lot more frequently. And let me know if you have any like ideas for stuff I can do. I'm totally down for whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.